There we go. Hi, Jemima.
Yay! Finally! How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I miss you too.
How's it going over there?
Good. We're not as bad as South Africa. South Africa, I heard, is on lockdown.
Major lockdown. Can't even walk the dogs.
Well, it's good there. You have more property too.
Yes, we do. We have a little bit more space than you guys.
Yep. So
Yeah. What's it like over there at the moment?
it's very it's on a slight lockdown, but it's not like as intense as South Africa for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
good.
everyone's practicing and doing their part. So
Yes,
everyone, this is
good.
Jemima. We met at in LA actually at the Create and Cultivate conference. Jemima came all the way from South Africa for it.
So
um,
worth it.
it's
So worth
so
it.
worth it. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so I am the founder and CEO at a digital marketing agency called Coco Creative. Um, and then I'm also the founder at an online underwear store called Something Sassy. But I think for the purposes of today, we're just going to talk about Coco Creative and the digital marketing. Um, so yeah, that's what I do. And obviously, I think that the digital space is really it's really important at the moment in understanding the digital space. So we're super busy as a team at the moment, which is fantastic because a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
So I think we're really fortunate at the moment. Um, so yeah, that's me. That's what I do.
And a little bit about your what your company consists of, Coco Creative in specific, and who you guys are catering to. And I know you mentioned you are planning to change the business model a little bit. So just
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit about your new business model and what you're planning to do.
So it's actually a really exciting time for us. And I mean, as like panicked as the whole world is at the moment, I feel so grateful for this opportunity to just have no expectations from the outside world. Like nobody's asking us for stuff, nobody's like putting pressure on us, nobody expects anything of anyone at the moment. So it's actually such a nice time to be pivoting a business or to be redefining a business model. Um, so for us, we offer as close to a full service digital marketing solution as it can get, I think. So we offer everything from copywriting to graphic design to strategy, paid media, website development and management. We do all of it, and we always have. We've been running for about 2 years, but collectively the team has got years and years of experience in agency environments, in freelance positions, that sort of thing. Um, so we have in the past generally worked with bigger organizations and bigger corporate companies and things, and that's obviously changed, and it changed very suddenly, which was really it was quite scary for us in the beginning. um, I think when companies are faced with a situation of having to pull back on budgets, the first to go, and this, is a marketing budget. It's the
Yeah.
first thing people pull back on. And unfortunately, we fell victim to that very early on. And most of our clients pulled their budgets, and we work on a retainer with most of our clients. We work on a retainer, monthly retainer. So we found ourselves with very little to do and very little revenue coming in, which was really quite scary for us. But I made a decision right in the beginning to keep the team no matter what. That's been my priority, and to really use the skills and the talents of our team to do something a little bit different and to change with the times. Um, and the way that that's looked for us so far is moving into more of a DIY marketing solution. So we've created a way for people to actually just buy the pieces that they need from us and buy them in the form of downloads and tools and worksheets and workbooks and things, so that people can actually learn these skills themselves. Because I think ultimately that's what's going to end up happening. to a lot of smaller businesses is
Yeah.
people are going to upskill and they're going to learn how to do these things themselves. So
Yeah.
we're providing those opportunities, and at the moment, to be honest, we're not really charging for a lot of it. This is kind of just a testing phase for us anyway, just in redefining our business model. I do think that a lot of our work, when things go back to normal, whatever normal is going to look like when that happens, or I don't know if there's ever going to be a normal ever again.
I think we're
But
definitely in for big changes when this is all
yeah,
so.
I think so. I think so too. Um, but I do think, you know, we'll get back some of those business to business clients that we've worked with in the past. I think that's gonna come back to us. But I also think that what we are using this time to do is cater to the smaller people and really give smaller startup owners, startup founders, business owners an opportunity to learn these skills and to implement them within their businesses. And then, as I say, to give them not necessarily a DIY, well, part of it is a DIY structure, but also just be able to pick and choose smaller services from our offering, and build out their marketing strategy based on what they need. You know, some people who own businesses, they're really good at putting together an email marketing strategy, and that's fantastic, but they are no good at copywriting.
Yeah.
So then we'll sell them a copywriting service, and that's it, and they can do the rest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're playing with at the moment. We're also playing a lot with online mentorship, a bit like you guys are doing at the moment, which is fantastic. You don't get a lot of that in this country, so that's something that we're playing with at the moment. You know, while people can't do things in person, there's still a need for connecting, so we're trying to offer that. And then we're also just trying to give away strategy at the moment, giving away, but hopefully it will form part of our business model, is to sell strategy sessions with our senior marketing team, because we've got as I said, we've got an amazing team of talents and skills, and if we can give people access to that, then that's amazing. Then we're winning, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's really great to hear. And I'm so proud that you're able to pivot and, you know, still find a way to be successful in the times, considering all the situations that are going around and what's just going on in the world as a whole. So it kind of brings me to my next question with small businesses and entrepreneurs and startup companies. You know, they're in a very transitional phase, and it's actually extremely risky because, you know, at the same time of having to transition, there's also a very different market that they have to cater to and very different times that they have to think about in terms of how they're going to strategize to change their businesses. So what are you doing with your clients, or are you doing anything from a media or marketing perspective with your clients to kind of pivot and change the conversation on how they are strategizing their marketing strategy?
Look, it depends. I think for us on the client, the conversation that we're having, it varies. I think, you know, a lot of people, I think, are making the mistake at the moment of being really fearful of, as I mentioned earlier, of putting budget into their marketing at the moment. Not even pushing an agenda. I really think now is the time to be doubling down on paid media. If we're just talking about paid media, in fact, any digital marketing efforts, quite frankly, I think it's time to be doubling down. So whether that's your email marketing, your paid ads on social media, now is the time to be doing that. Having said that, I do get that it's a really scary time to put money into anything. And I think as a small business owner at the moment, I think that lack of access to funding, or the lack of funds in general, I think that's actually a blessing, to be honest. I think the more people that are going to do things grassroots and grow communities organically at the moment, the better. I think that, you know, I've had conversations with people. In fact, one of the speakers from Create and Cultivate recently, and she was starting up a new business, and her plan was to plow like 4 million in seed capital into it, and she can't do that now because she doesn't stand the chance of raising that. So now she's sitting on social media and she's building a community herself with the people who are going to eventually buy her product. And I mean, I think that's fantastic. I think this is an amazing opportunity for people.
Yeah, I agree with, you know, spending. You might not see the return on investment right away, but you're trying to grow your community for when they're able to, because eventually we will come out of this. And when we're able to capitalize on that market, it's obviously, as much as we don't like to talk about it, money is the motive when it comes to businesses. And,
exactly.
so yeah, we will eventually come out of this, and growing your community is key to making sure you come out of it successful.
It really is.
What emerging marketing trends have you noticed right now as an outcome of the virus?
So this, for one.
Okay.
People going live, people doing videos, people on IGTV. I mean, the number of people posting their first IGTV videos ever is insane at the moment. So that's definitely the one thing that we've noticed as a company. And then I think, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that a lot more people are focusing on email marketing at the moment as well, which I find really encouraging, because that's something that we've been pushing for a long time. And I think with the upsurge in social media, a lot of companies and a lot of organizations have forgotten about email marketing. And that still, to me, is the most important thing that anybody could be doing. So I think there's been an increase in that as well, because it's a way for companies to really stay engaged with their communities at the moment, and to let them know that they're still out there and they still exist and they still care. But certainly this kind of thing, this is the biggest thing for me. These live videos, people engaging online, people attending webinars, people attending online conferencing. I think that's what we've seen the most of, which has been amazing.
Yeah. And even about the emails, I think it's really the only tangible asset we have in marketing. So it's important at the same time when you're spending the money on marketing. I think it's great if you can build your database at the same time. So making sure you have, landing pages that require a subscription, or if you're giving free things, that's amazing. But, get their email address, grow your database, because those are the people that
Absolutely.
you're going to reach out to when, we're not doing just social media posts, and they don't have to physically be there.
And as you said, it's the only thing we own.
Yeah,
as a company, that is the only thing you own. Your, Instagram owns your followers, Facebook owns your followers. If those platforms go away, what do you have?
Yeah.
So yes, a 100% email database. That's where put all your energy into building your email database at the moment.
For sure. And what key metrics do you think, or would you recommend small businesses to measure their KPI?
So I haven't necessarily felt like that's changed from normal strategy metrics and KPIs that we measure on client campaigns.
But just in general, what I think it's just been a question that I've seen multiple times where people are asking, what type of metric, how do I measure my success on my social media? So just in general, what do you usually measure your KPI with?
So I think it just depends on the overall objective, obviously, of a campaign, and then once you've identified that objective in detail, reverse engineering the KPIs and the metrics that need to be, or the KPIs that need to be met and the metrics that need to be measured. So yeah, as I say, if your objective is data capture and collecting email addresses, then you want to be keeping an eye on engagement. You want to be keeping an eye on landing page traffic. If your objective is to grow an audience and to grow a following, then it's all down to engagement. Sales, if your objective is sales, if that's your endpoint, then obviously you're looking at different metrics in that scenario. So I think it all just depends on what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day. But that hasn't changed, I don't think, because of, I think obviously sales are down for a lot of people. Here in South Africa, if you've got
e-commerce has been up too. Yeah.
It has, but here in South Africa, for example, if you have an online store, you can't dispatch any of your products, and so people aren't necessarily selling as much. So they're just different. Yeah, they're different. Yeah, I mean, our online store, we've got, as I said, I've got an underwear company. We can't dispatch any orders at the moment. So people aren't really ordering.
So you're not having grocery delivery and stuff?
We do,
Okay.
but if you so the courier companies are running, but as a supplier, you have to have a certificate as an essential goods. You have to be essential goods for
Oh,
them
okay.
to
Okay.
pick up and deliver. Yeah.
Okay. Well, over here, I think from what I've seen, there has been a bunch of businesses that, you know, aren't able to keep up, and they have to, you know, let go of their employees or close down temporarily. But then there are also businesses that are doing well because we are allowed to run. So the e-commerce platforms have grown. These are people that are putting a little bit more money into spending on digital marketing, and it does pay off. And for those of you that are able to, and you know, are just scared of risking it, it really is making a difference. And one of them I'm talking about just joined right now. Rose Toronto is doing great right now. And
what I want to add on that, Rafa, as well, is because so many big organizations are pulling their marketing budgets at the moment, your CPC, your cost per click on Facebook, on Google, and whatever, it's gone down.
Yeah,
it's a much less competitive space at the moment than ever before. So now really is the time to put money into your paid media for sure.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is, what are your top 3 social media platforms you would recommend your small businesses to focus on right now?
So the one thing I would recommend, actually, which is not going to answer your question, but the one thing that I would recommend is, if you are a new business at the moment, is start with one platform. Start with one platform, figure out what works, figure out what your audience responds to, what type of content they want, and then roll out onto the others. I think there are so many at the moment that it's so overwhelming. You can't possibly learn them all and manage them all properly. So I would say start with one. My personal favorite is Instagram. I think it's a great platform at the moment. I think engagement's high. I think a lot of people are hanging out there. I have differing opinions about each platform for different reasons. I think LinkedIn is fantastic from a personal brand building perspective, for sure.
Yeah.
If your objective is to deal with, you know, if you've got a B2B strategy or you want to be dealing with other companies, then LinkedIn is where you want to be.
Yeah.
Twitter, I would say Twitter is a beast. And what I say to every client that joins us and wants a Twitter strategy, unless you have something really interesting to say all day long, Twitter's not the place to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a harder business. It's a harder business tool. I think it's more personality on there than it is, you know, a business tool for you to grow your business. Not saying that you can't do it, but it's a harder platform to kind of get around, because it kind of runs a little bit like a forum, and it's weird in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's it. Unless you have something very interesting and valuable to contribute consistently throughout the day, Twitter is not the place. Yeah. But I mean, if you're a I don't know, if you're a news channel or whatever, then Twitter's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly sending out updates.
Yeah.
But for anything that, you know, it's a very tricky one.
Yeah.
Facebook is obviously fantastic, and as I say, it just depends on your audience and the brand you're trying to build. Don't ask me about TikTok. I don't know anything about it. And then the one thing as well that I'll say about paid media is, my suggestion, if you're going to be running paid ads and you want to understand how to run paid media, start on Facebook. It has the easiest user interface, in my opinion. Twitter and LinkedIn, they're fantastic, but they are a little bit more expensive to run ads on, and the interface is not nearly as easy to use. And then I would move on from Facebook. I would move on to Instagram, because they share an interface. So once you've learned the Facebook interface, it's very easy to then just run your ads on through the same business manager for Instagram.
Yeah. And
sorry, that was very long-winded.
No, that's okay. And what did you think about Pinterest? Because that's something
Pinterest is amazing.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time learning it, and now like actually like going through with it. I think Pinterest is going to grow 100%. Very soon. It's already growing, and you know, there's a lot of interesting facts about Pinterest that I think, and interesting information about Pinterest and how you can grow your business and scale it just on that platform, because it's essentially a search engine.
Well, this
But
is it.
yeah, and there's nothing like
It's
it.
no, so you can basically have, it's basically like Instagram where your content can all be image based, except it's searchable by Google.
Exactly.
So, which you don't get with Instagram. So yes, Pinterest is a fantastic tool for that sort of thing. If you have image based content, then for sure.
Yeah. So let's see if we have any questions. If you guys have any questions, please just drop them. I'm just going through this.
No questions.
No, we didn't get any questions.
That's just because we've answered them all so well.
Pinterest
versus Insta. So the thing, sorry, I cut you off there, Rafa.
No. I didn't say anything.
The thing that I love about Instagram is it's a fantastic platform for taking people behind the scenes. So if that's one of your objectives and you want to be able to show people behind the scenes and you want to be able to show people what's happening within your business very closely and give them a very, very intimate look into it, then Sana, Rafa loves Pinterest.
I do.
So do I. I'm shocking on Pinterest. I can lose hours to Pinterest.
Yeah.
But from a marketing tool perspective, I think it depends on what you want to be doing. So I think, as I said, Instagram is fantastic if you want to really give people a very, very close relationship with your brand. But as we said earlier, Pinterest gives you searchability in Google, which Instagram doesn't do. So I think both are great and both are valuable. I think it just depends on what you want to be doing. And I mean, you can just do both.
I think with Pinterest, the reason why I've been liking it so much is because I've been kind of in talks with contacts at Pinterest right now, and I've been doing calls with them, and we've just kind of been talking about what's coming. And I'm not sure if you have the feature, but the Pinterest creators group, they're accessible to Pinterest storyboards now, and so they're kind of integrating what they're trying to do. And where I see this trend kind of going is they're kind of integrating, you know, elements of Instagram that do very well, and then they're putting it onto that platform, which changes the game completely, because, you know, now the pins are shoppable, and videos like catch your attention in the stream, just like how we talk about videos in Discover, you know. And then obviously the growth on Pinterest and the reach is unmatchable, considering you know, it's a search engine, and people, like, all you have to do is, you know, make sure you're hitting those keywords, and you know, you can really, really grow big very quickly on there.
Yeah, I mean, if Pinterest brings in the video element, I mean, they're gonna be a force for sure.
Yeah.
Which actually does make me think we haven't actually talked at all about YouTube, which I think is so worth touching on.
Yeah.
Because I also think YouTube as a platform needs to not be overlooked, because I think, I mean, we know this, and this has been rule of thumb for a little while now, but video content is so important to any digital strategy, and having a YouTube channel and posting live content on YouTube is invaluable. It's something that everyone needs to be doing.
Yeah. The only thing I think with YouTube is it's hard to get those videos done. It's a lot more, you know, intensive with like making sure it's targeted, it's, you know, there's actual valuable content in there, and I think it's video marketing in general, it's just a little bit more strategy involved, where, and then also time, sometimes money and energy, and I think that's why businesses don't necessarily incline unless they have bigger budgets.
They should.
Yeah.
They should be. And just repurpose content.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're creating video content or you're creating audio content, there's no reason that can't be distribute it across all your channels. So put it
Yeah.
on your YouTube channel, put it on your IGTV, put it on your podcast. If it's an audio file, put that on your YouTube. There's no reason that all of this content can't be
Yeah.
repurposed. And if you look at it that way, it actually doesn't become that intimidating. It's not like you have to create content for YouTube. You have to create content for this platform and this platform. I mean, I get it. Like, you know, going live on Instagram or posting an Instagram story is much easier than creating a video, a beautifully edited video for YouTube. But I wouldn't get too caught up in that either. I would just say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create an image library, we're going to create an audio library, and we're going to create a video library, and then just, you know, put it everywhere.
I'm kind of liking TikTok for that reason. So it's been like for so long I was like, I'm not gonna get it, I'm not gonna download it, it's not like whatever. And then it's just like everyone's on TikTok, these videos are going viral, and it's like unseen, unheard of before. And you know, I'm specifically on it for the humor. I love like videos on there, but it's what it's doing is it's kind of like, you know, taking the pressure and the feeling of like having to be serious in your videos to like and making your brand a lot more approachable. And it gives you like, yeah, it is really funny. It gives you the opportunity to be a lot more creative with the content that you're able to create. And then not only is it, you know, a fun thing and something to change, a new platform for you to grow, easy to go viral, but it also is very easy to use. Like it took me
that does appeal to me.
Yeah, it took me a few videos to learn, but it's not that hard to use it.
That part of TikTok, I must say, does appeal to me, and I may actually get on that this weekend. But it does, the little I know of it, it does seem like it's a very, very easy way to create video content and edited video content. So yeah, for that reason, I think it's probably worth it.
And not only that, but it's also engageable. So you can have people replying to your videos with a video, or like, you know, the double, I don't know what it's called. It's like double screen or something. And they can like interact with your video. It's just, I just find it really cool.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to have a look at that this weekend, for sure.
Did we get any more questions here?
We did. There were some questions.
Photo versus video in digital marketing, which is more effective? Video is definitely more effective. It engages with your clients or your customers or your target audience without having them read anything or, you know, do anything other than just watch your video. And it gives them information as opposed to a picture where they find information. Also, when it comes to platforms like Instagram or Pinterest, you know, in these picture full feeds, motion is what draws your eyes on these feeds. And so even if there's no sound, when you are going through a feed, you automatically kind of get curious to see a video in your Discover feed, or videos start playing while you're scrolling through your Instagram feed. So I definitely think video is more effective. But then again, it's also what content you have, because it has to be valuable content. It can't just be a video of like, I don't know, nothing. What do you think?
And I think that, well, I agree with you 100%. And that it also makes me think of something else that I want to just touch on, is the difference between long form written content versus audio. And we were talking about this as a team actually the other day, and the value of podcast channels these days versus a blog, for example. And I think, as you said, like with a video, people can get their information so much easier and so much more quickly. And that's the same with a podcast. I think that that's the way that it's going. And I think that podcast channels are definitely something that people need to think about and need to look into and consider, because again, I think fewer people are sitting reading a blog these days than people are putting in their AirPods and going for a walk and listening to a podcast. So in terms of creating content, again, while you're creating video content, create audio content, because it has the same appeal to your audience.
I agree.
Mm.
Animated video versus whiteboard video, which one's appealing? It kind of depends on content and what
Mm.
you're marketing. It's very dependent on that actually.
So as an agency, we've created a lot of animated video content. People love it. I personally prefer to whiteboard. Um, but yeah, I mean that's a personal preference, and as I say, that's just in my experience working with clients. We've done a lot more animated stuff. I think it can be more attention grabbing than whiteboard content. I think sometimes whiteboard content, it's difficult to keep whiteboard content really interesting and really exciting and really engaging. Whereas with animated content, I feel like the world is your oyster and you can do all sorts of fun, crazy things.
What I
So
find with whiteboard is it like the reason why I said it's so based on like what your content is, because like for me it's if I'm looking at something and it's more whiteboard, the effect I get is that it's informative or educational.
exactly.
So I think it's how you want to strategize your marketing, your message, and then also it has to be aligned with your brand aesthetic and what your brand represents. So there's so much more than just going to say, okay, should I do an animated video or a whiteboard video? It's definitely.
And that's a really good point as well, Rafa, because I think if it's an explainer video, then there's definitely a place for a whiteboard video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it does also need to take into consideration what your objectives are and what you're trying to convey and communicate.
Do we have any more questions?
Why are Insta stories so effective?
Where was that?
Are they? That was under Zena's comment about you loving Pinterest. Oh. Why are Insta stories so effective? Are they useful to a brand? I mean, I think so. I also know statistically more people are sitting on Instagram these days just watching their Insta stories instead of scrolling through their feeds. So I think if you're going to be putting time and energy into an Instagram campaign or having your brand on Instagram, whatever you're doing in your feed, you've got to be replicating in your story. And I do feel like stories just allows for so much more. I think there's so much more freedom and there's so much more room to be creative.
Yeah.
And approachable, very personal, as we've said already. So yeah, I think Insta stories are a great tool for a brand. Definitely.
I agree. And I also want to add, just like before you said, with Instagram being a tool that companies use for transparency and showing behind the scenes, if it's not aligned with your brand aesthetic to put those type of videos or pictures in your feed, stories allow you to either, post them and keep them there for just the 24 hours if you wanted to do some behind the scene teasers, or if you actually want to have brand transparency on your platform without actually using your feed, you put them on your stories, you add them as a highlight, and people are able to engage with what you're doing. They want to see that. It's not even a growing trend. It is a trend on Instagram where your audience wants to be your loyal audience, and they want to be able to see your authentic brand as it stands, right?
And now more than ever.
Yeah.
Now more than ever.
Yeah.
Because people can't walk into your store and speak to a sales clerk. They can't walk into your restaurant and meet the chef. They can't. Now more than ever, your brand has got to be showing up in a very, very transparent environment, as Rafa said.
Yeah.
So important at the moment.
Yeah. So even if that means, showing behind the scenes, if you're saying that you're donating proceeds from, your earnings, I know in South Africa it's not happening, but here, if you're a business that's still selling something and want to contribute to the virus, the effects of the virus, how are you doing that? And show people what you're doing. It's not to say, okay, here I am doing a good thing. It's more to show your customers, your paying customers, that are contributing to your business and how their money is affecting and helping other people.
I think that's so good.
How do brands communicate authenticity digitally?
Okay, so I'm going to speak directly to the woman who's asked this question.
Okay. Do you know
I
her?
have been trying to get, yes, she's on my team.
Oh, okay.
She works at my agency, and I have been trying to get her on video so that she can be authentic digitally, and she's not interested. I think at the moment, and again, I'm speaking very much to like what is happening in the digital space at the moment. I think for brands to really come across as being authentic online at the moment, they just need to be real. They just need to be people. They need to show their followers and their audience and their communities what it's like for them at the moment. I mean, I know like it's starting to get a little bit boring, all these people doing takeovers, but like that's all we have at the moment. That's all we have, and we're actually so lucky that we have this opportunity to let people get to know us. And that really for me is a big one. Ali, again, who asked the question, she's actually probably a better person to answer her own question, to be honest. But she's been really big at the moment on the messaging that's going out from our agency, to make sure that we're being super authentic. And I think the one thing that brands do need to be a little bit careful of at the moment is not looking too opportunistic, and really coming from a place of if they're caring about their community and they are trying to help and they're trying to give back, how do you convey that in a very authentic way so that it doesn't look like you're just taking advantage of the situation at the moment?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big question, and it's something that really needs to be unpacked per brand and per effort at the moment, depending on what you're doing, and how you take people behind the scenes and into a really authentic experience with you and your brand. It's going to be a very personal conversation to try and figure out.
Yeah.
But yes, get on video, Alison.
Yeah, I do think video is probably the easiest way, and start with your Instagram stories. Just start doing that. Yeah. It's as easy as that. Show what you're doing, depending on your brand, obviously. But if you're making handcrafted products at home or digital, digital stuff, just do like a screenplay of a time lapse of some digital art that you're doing. It's as easy as that. People love to see the process of things, and how you're getting that end product to them. So so yeah, and start with your videos. It doesn't have to be a YouTube video. It could be literally a 10-second story.
Exactly, or just like a boomerang on your story. It doesn't even, you don't even have to speak. We did do a takeover on our Instagram for my underwear brand the other day, and our creative director did a takeover, and the question that she got the most was, what is your creative process? Like, how do you guys come up with your collections? How do you decide what you're going to launch to your customers? And that's what people want to know at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, did I get paused?
You're good.
Okay, there we go. They want to understand how your business runs, how you create your product, as you said, like, are you handcrafting stuff? So I think giving people that behind the scenes look at things at the moment is really important.
Yeah, and another thing, to display, authenticity on your brand, it's very important to engage with your audience. So not just liking their comments on your pictures, but also replying to their comments, replying to their DMs, or if they're, tagging you in a story, like it. You don't even have to comment, just like it. It's in your inbox, and I know it's sometimes hard to get through a lot of them, but try to be as engaging on there, because people like that. Like, for example, McCafe here in Canada, when I tag them in my stories, pretty much, at least I would say 90% of the time, I don't post them that much, but like 90% of the time, they do like my picture. Once they've even sent me a heart. This was like probably last year, but it's something that when I know that if I am going to post them, they are going to respond to me. And I know it's not the CEO of McDonald's, but at the end of the day, the brand is responsive, and people like that. It's a good feeling, right? to get
Yeah,
a
yeah,
reply from a verified account, or, you know, to be noticed when you know that there is probably a lot of other people being noticed at the same time, or, you know, trying to get
exactly.
their attention.
Yeah, yeah. And it's true, you do, and you remember the ones that acknowledge you back. APL trainers, like every time I post them, and I do every now and then, but every time I tag them in a post, they will reply, they'll share my story, like every time.
Yeah.
And they've got hundreds of thousands of followers, so there are probably tons of people posting their shoes all day, every day. But I know for sure that if I post them, they're gonna acknowledge it and they're gonna share it.
Yeah, and you're just that much more likely to post again, to
Mm.
buy again, and
To buy
it's
again,
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
It's a weird thing, but like I'll go back in there and I'll buy another pair of shoes because
yeah,
I know that there's somebody on their Instagram who's waiting to see what I have to say about it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's growing your community, and you want your followers to be your loyal followers, not a follower for this year and next year, you know, they're not using your products anymore, they're
Mm,
not buying your products, or they're not interacting with your service. You want them to come back to you, and that's how you not only display authenticity but also nurture your audience. It's
mm.
so important to, you know, be sensitive around that and understand that there are people that are liking your pictures. It's not just Instagram liking your pictures, you know. um,
Exactly.
email marketing versus social media marketing, which is not non-disturbing. I'm not sure.
What does that mean?
um, um, so email marketing versus social media marketing. You can correct your question and we can see that, but we'll just answer the first part of that question. Um, email
Which we've kind of
marketing,
touched on a little bit already.
yeah, email marketing is also a part of social media marketing. Um, it's a little bit different in terms of the audience is already yours and you've already captured their attention somehow.
They're a little bit further down in the funnel for
Yeah,
the
so it's more of the nurturing phase, as I said,
mm,
even with like current Instagram followers that are posting, you know, user generated content for you. It's kind of in the same line there. And
mm.
it's nurturing your audience as opposed to selling to your audience. It's less, well, it kind of is promotional too, but
It's yeah, it's promotional, but it's less of a brand awareness
yeah,
exercise. Social media is a great look. Social media, different ways of posting on social media
yeah,
cater to each level of a sales funnel. But um, yes, from a lead generation perspective, social media, and from a as Rafa said, from a nurturing perspective, email marketing, customer retention, focus on your email marketing.
he corrected it, but answer asked the same question.
Which is non-disturbing and why? I don't know what that means.
What do you
Social
mean
media
by
messaging.
non-disturbing?
Social
Oh,
media messaging marketing, which is
okay, okay,
non-disturbing. Do
okay.
you mean like non like
Like,
not
I
it
think they're talking about
invasive,
invasive.
non-invasive?
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
means by invasive.
I would probably say email marketing is less invasive because somebody's volunteered their email address to you at some point, so they've agreed for you to communicate with them. Whereas email marketing, I mean, sorry, social media messaging marketing. No, I mean, there are bots doing that, so I'm not a big fan of that at all. But yeah, I feel like with email marketing, they've agreed for you to communicate with them in their inboxes, so it's a slightly different. I think it's just a different conversation.
I think it also just depends what you're messaging for. So I wouldn't broadcast and bot, you know, message everyone on my Instagram. Um, but I would send out an email to, of course, like you said, people that have signed up to get information from me. But as a
Mm,
brand, if you're interested in working with a certain, you know, influencer and you haven't received a reply and you sent them an email, I don't think it's wrong for you to reach out through their
Mm-mm.
Instagram DMs. I would encourage that. I would
Mm.
send them the pictures on there if you're trying to get their attention and you want them to wear a certain product, or you think a product would work for them. Send them a picture on there. Tell them, what your brand is, that you've reached out and you'd love to work with them. If you feel like you're not being seen in the email, then why not? I don't think it's disturbing at all. I think it's
Mm-mm.
it's an easy way, and a faster way, and somewhat a little bit more effective to reach out to them on the platform that you want them to see, because it's a
Mm.
lot easier for that brand to literally just click your name and go to your brand, like your page, your Instagram page, and be able to see what you have, what your aesthetic is. It's just a lot more engaging than sending an email, where
Mm.
they have to do a little bit more research.
If we're talking about reaching out to influencers in that kind of environment, I'm gonna say, and I'm a bit shameless like this, but I'm gonna say contact them in every way you can. However you can get hold of them or find them. If you can get an email address, use it. If you can get a LinkedIn profile, message them. If you can get a Instagram profile, message them on Instagram. I like do what you can. If you are a brand and you're trying to reach out in that way to influencers, I don't think there's anything wrong with going all out, because I think for me personally, all it does, it would tell me that somebody's really adamant to work with me. So I don't think, I think do it all.
Okay, the next question is, which platform has the highest conversion rate right now?
I mean,
I think the question
conversion
is
to
between
what?
Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
mean,
It's between the two, but it depends. It
so
depends.
it depends. It depends. I mean, if we're talking about paid media, let's just I'm just gonna decide what she means. If we're talking about paid media conversions and we're talking about converting to sales,
Yeah,
hypothetically,
yeah.
um, in fact, it doesn't matter what we're converting to. If we're talking about paid media, I'm going to say that your highest conversion rate is probably going to be on Facebook because it's cheaper than Instagram.
It's also a
But
lot more
it's
targeted with leads.
Yeah, it is. It is. Facebook is a lot more targeted. And also I feel like well, actually not so much with Facebook. I mean, if we're talking about Google as well, it's a whole different conversation, because with Google's going to be your highest conversion rate, actually, because on Google, you've got people, Google search, you've got people,
Looking for it.
they're searching with intent, right? So they have the intent that somebody on social media who's seen your brand or your ad doesn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
So your conversion rate actually on Google is going to be even higher. But again, that's more expensive than Facebook. So depending on what your budget is as well, I suppose conversion rate is irrespective of your
Pinterest
budget.
is
But yes.
also pretty high in conversion rates, but I think it's actually brands in general. So with Pinterest, what I've been seeing and what I've learned is, if you're looking to do, paid promotion on that platform, you don't have to have, like, 1 million followers on there or thousands of followers. You just target your ad and you put your keywords, do what you need to spend, put your budget in. But what I've learned from that is, even after doing it, is that your return on investment is not instant. So with Facebook, it's usually click, click, and buy. With Pinterest, it's more like you click and then they save and then they come back to it. So it might not be that you're investing for tomorrow. You're investing for maybe a month from now, because that's just the way the platform, that's just the way people interact on that platform and the way the platform's kind of set up, and they're slowly learning to change that. But that's just what I think about that. But the conversion rate is high. But I find with Facebook and Google, the only issue is there has to be a lot more strategy behind your advertisements, as opposed to posting it, like just putting your feed post on promote on Instagram, right? It's just a lot more targeted.
Yeah, I mean, a feed post on promote on Instagram is one of my least favorite
Me too.
things to do with your budget.
Yeah. If
That's the
you
last
have
thing
some
I would
extra
suggest
dollars, I'll put
anybody
that
does.
there.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I I think if people, and unfortunately, I think one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they think that running paid media is as easy as hitting promote or hitting boost and putting some money towards it, and you're gonna get success. And it's not. It is a beast. It is so complicated. Um, it's not insurmountable, but it's complicated, and you have to either take the time to really learn it and upskill yourself, or you need to outsource it, because you can really throw away a lot of money very quickly for no return.
And that's actually something we should have mentioned when we talked about the paid promotion. It's recommended to do paid promotion, and it is something you should push right now if you have the budget to. But at the end of the day, don't do it if you're not well versed in how to, or learning how to, or if you're not, like, willing to outsource it. If you think you don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the ability to strategize your paid promotion, then if you don't have the budget to outsource it, I would suggest holding off on it, because you can waste a lot of money, and it is,
you really can.
Yeah,
you really can.
It is a hard thing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Rafa. We should have mentioned that. But I stand by what I said earlier. Like, now is the time to double down on your paid media. But make sure you know what you're doing, or you're giving it to somebody who knows what they're doing. Because
and if you want to grow paid, like, I would suggest, for beginners, do your paid promo on Instagram. At least you're growing a following, and you're getting attention to your brand, and eventually those people could become, paid clients. You might not be getting direct leads, but at the end of the day, you're growing your social proof, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, exactly. Test
the market.
Test. It's the only way to learn any of it. Social media marketing, digital marketing it's all about testing. It's all about testing. So you've got to be patient. It's not a quick fix. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. They think that their results are going to come through instantaneously, and they're not. But don't give up. Don't give up. And please look at your data all the time. I think so many people just do it. They're on Facebook because somebody has told them they should be. They've got an Instagram profile for their business because somebody told them they should, but they're not actually paying attention to what the data is telling them. And if you pay attention to what that data is telling you, you are in such a powerful position, because you understand your customer, you understand what they want, you understand what they're looking for, you understand what they're relating to, what they're engaging with, when they're online, when they're not online. The data that is made available to us because of these platforms is invaluable, and really, use it.
I think our last question is, any branding short notes or cheat notes?
So I'm going to just let you know, we do actually have like a bunch of downloadable cheat sheets and stuff on our website. If anybody does want to just pop over there and download some free resources, they're free.
You want to give them the website?
Yeah, can I put it in the comments?
Yeah, just leave it in the comments. Or you can check out the Instagram page. Is it Coco Creatives?
Yeah, should I just tag the Coco Creative?
We will put the tag in the last Instagram post in today's feed, so that you guys can check.
Yeah, I've mentioned the Instagram profile there in the comments, and if you just pop onto our website, we have a library full of like downloadable resources, and there's cheat sheets, hashtag cheat sheets, how to brand your social media. A lot of it's free. There are some other more advanced worksheets and stuff that you pay for, but there's a bunch of stuff there that you can just go wild with. And by all means, just send us a question if you have a question. Just
okay,
available at the moment.
We are on time.
Yes. We have one more question there. Do you want me to?
Oh, what is it?
Least major digital marketing goals. I don't know what that means. Least major digital marketing goals. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. So, like, how long is a piece of string? I don't know. Sorry.
Well, if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a message, a DM on the Run the World Summit account, or send a message to Jemima, or her Coco Creative account. She has a bunch of cheat sheets for you. And thank you for your time, Jemima. It was
Pleasure. Thank
great
you so much
speaking
for
to
having
you
me.
and seeing you
Yeah,
again.
I know. Soon, soon. The next conference, when they have their next in-person conference, we're gonna have to go again.
Yeah, for sure. Are
When we're
you
all
doing
allowed to
their
travel
New
again.
York one? Sorry,
When is the
their
New York one?
online digital one?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm doing the online one. I'm gonna do the online one on the 2nd. Yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
very excited. Yeah, but I need another in-person one.
Next time you're coming to Toronto for Run the World.
Of course, yes, definitely, definitely. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be amazing.
Thank you everyone for joining. This was really fun and we will see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye.